Today we'll be making it through the month of May here in year number 4 of the Chicago White Sox franchise here on MLB The Show 25. It was certainly an up and down month of April, but the team is not playing too bad. We're currently 500 at 16-16. We've been playing some good ball to end the month, and we're hoping that will carry over into May, and we can potentially dig a little deeper into this potential AL wildcard race. I think the big storyline for the first month of the year was the inconsistencies between the offense versus the pitching. Last year, we were an offense-first team. Our average and our on-base percentage were both in the top 10. Not quite the case this year. The offense has regressed, but they've played well over the last couple of weeks. We're 5-1 in our last 6 games, and a big reason for that is the offense. We have climbed towards the middle in terms of runs at 16th. Very respectable compared to where we were earlier in the year. Still only in 23rd in batting average, but we're tied for 10th in walks. We were low in that category earlier in the year. Only 20th in on-base percentage, but again, a lot better than it was for most of the month. The power has not been good, but it's improving. For a large chunk of April, we were dead last in home runs. We've made it up to tied for 22nd, so we've still got some work to do there. The power has not been all bad, though. We are 3rd in doubles. I believe we're in the top 10 in terms of triples. Yes, tied for 10th. Home runs are not the only source of power. Obviously, they're the biggest, but doubles and triples matter as well. Our slugging percentage is nearly 400, and it's on the rise as of recent with a great offensive series against the A's and then playing well against Baltimore. In terms of the notable storylines, Luis Robert and Dylan Cruz were really bad for most of the month, but they're both starting to hit their strides. Now, the plate discipline's got to be better. Lou Bob has only walked 3 times the entire year, but he's homered in 4 straight games after only 2 homers the entire year before that. And in his last 10 games, his slugging starts with the number 8. So after a really bad start, it seems like he's picking things up. And the same thing with Cruz, who's also not drawing any walks. He only has 3 as well. But he's homered in each of his last 2 games, hitting .360 over his last 10. I was starting to panic a little bit. This looked like a bad trade acquisition, and while his WAR is still negative and he still has some work to do, we're making progress. But a .243 on-base percentage is pretty unacceptable. Now, we have some guys who are still not playing well at all. Colson Montgomery's been a train wreck so far. Brian Ramos has not played very well despite a good spring. I don't get it with Ramos. Over the last 2 years, his approach at the plate has gotten better. His walk rate has improved 3 years in a row. His strikeout rate has improved every year of his career. Yet his hitting is worse. He doesn't make sense. The contact has been at .210 over the last couple of years. In terms of positives, Brady Montgomery definitely has been one. He hasn't been very good over the last week, but he's been really solid for us. Good contact, drawing walks, good defense and base running. And Oswaldo Escobedo's done kind of the same thing. The power hasn't necessarily been elite, hasn't been bad either, but he's hitting .284, high walk rate, and the defense is far better than it was a year ago. He was awful defensively. This year he's been perfect. Leads the team in WAR at 1.2. He's been a really valuable player. Him and Brady Montgomery have been by far the 2 most consistent position players on the team this year, and without them, we certainly would not be 500. They've given us stability at the top of the order. They've gotten on base, and they've played great defense. One of the only other guys hitting for average was Cody Hosey. He's currently injured, but we will be getting Douglas Cato back at some point today, and then before you know it, probably sometime in June, is when we're going to have Edgar Caro's wheel spin injury expire. So things are looking up for the offense, and they're looking even more up because I don't think we're going to have to worry about a Kyle Teel suspension. He needed a higher OPS and home run rate than last year by the end of April, so technically there's still 2 more games. His OPS has risen quite a bit over his last 10, but he hasn't homered, which is a big relief. So I guess it's still possible if he goes off that both of those could be better than last year, but it's unlikely we're going to have to worry about a suspension, which is huge because without Edgar Caro, we know we need him out there. While the offense seems to be playing better, the pitching really has not gotten worse. They started the year red hot. I didn't really think it was going to stick, but it has. We're 3rd in earned runs allowed, one of just 4 teams under 100. We're 6th in runs allowed. We've had some untimely errors. The defense hasn't been that bad, though. We're 15th in terms of fielding percentage, so right in the middle. We are kind of all over the place in terms of our pitching stats as we're in third for ERA at 3.01. We're tied for 18th, though, in hits allowed, which isn't great. But we're tied for second in walks allowed, which is. Our home run rate is not very good, tied for 20th, but last year I'm pretty sure we were in last, so that's progress. And then strikeouts were in second. We have done a great job at striking guys out. A lot of guys, their strikeout rates are really good. Drew Thorpe in particular, I think his is over 9, which is impressive because he's never really been a strikeout guy. The rotation's been really solid. Drew Thorpe continues to impress. After the first couple of seasons of the series, I kind of assumed he'd be like a really good number 2, but that's not really the case. He's an ace. He's projected to make the All-Star team. He's currently in third for the Cy Young. He's 5th in pitching WAR. The guy keeps finding ways to get better and better and better. 2.34 ERA, 1.16 WHIP. The K rate is the best it's ever been. All of his other numbers are really solid across the board. I mean, he is an amazing player, and having him at the top of this rotation for the next 4 years is going to be very exciting. He's found ways to improve while remaining overall super consistent. Hayden Wesneski's been phenomenal as well. We've moved him into the rotation, and through 6 starts, he's been incredible. Now, his stats are going to switch back to what they were. His wheel spin will be done, unfortunately, but he's certainly taken advantage, and I don't know why his WAR is only .2. His advanced numbers are not great. His FIP is kind of high. K rate obviously is low, given his strikeouts per 9 went down. And then the young guys are producing. Noah Schultz has been quite good, 2.88 ERA. His K rate is at 10. Over the last couple of years, it's been around 7. So that's a noticeable improvement. Hayden Smith has been solid as well. John Gray's kind of the one guy who hasn't been that good so far. And then the bullpen's been terrific. Brock Berg, Paul Sewald, those guys have been great additions. Penn Murphy's been unbelievable. Tony Santillan's been good. And then the rookie, Ezra Valenzuela, looks like the real deal. I had a comment suggesting that we change his pitching motion. As fun as the submarine style is, it doesn't really fit his play, so I did end up changing it. Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. At the beginning of the year, I said I wanted to be in the mix, and right now we're in the mix. We're 2 back in the division and 1 back in the wild card. We'll be talking some minor league ball as well, specifically focused on our most recent number 2 overall draft pick, Barney Wagner, the 3rd-ranked prospect in the system, soon to be the 2nd once Valenzuela graduates. So far, Barney's been really impressive, hitting .326, drawing a lot of walks. The power has not really been there yet. He's only hit 1 home run, but he is in the midst of a double-digit game hitting streak. The guy's a professional hitter. He's got the contact, he's got the approach, and that's why I think he's going to stick in our league for a while. Let's talk about our wheel spins now. Hayden Wesneski will go back to normal. Kyle Teal, bearing some crazy change in the last 2 games of the month, will not be suspended. As for our spin today, I decided to think a little outside the box. I didn't want to pick someone who was doing super well or super poorly, since our team's been kind of average so far. So I landed on Hagen Smith, who I think has shown some good things. The strikeout and walk rate are both quite solid, but he's allowing too many hits and too many home runs. I feel like that's gotten worse every year of his career. Teams are figuring out how to hit harder against him, even if the walk rate and the K rate are both the best it's ever been. So there have been some positives this year from Smith, but also some negatives. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we get for him here in the month of May. And ultimately, we would land on a familiar one. Light work. All stats go up by 1. So a pretty simple one here, but certainly not a bad one. All of his attributes, including his potential, will go up by 1. He's now an 81 with 88 potential. As for our spins around the league, last episode we did the NL West in terms of some of the notable highlights 1 month later. Gunnar Henderson got a boost to his contact. His power went down. And, well, after the change to his contact, he didn't hit the ball well, and then he got injured. So, didn't really work out for him. He's on the IL for another month or 2. Patrick Bailey landed on bombs away. For every home run he hits, +1 power. Well, he ended up hitting 3. 2 against righties, 1 against lefties. Jordan Lawler landed on another new one as well. Work smarter, not harder. His hitting stats all went down by 5, but his vision and discipline went up by 20. I was really curious to see how this would help him, and it made a big difference. 7 walks and 4 Ks in his last 10 games. His offensive numbers went up, but he also got injured, so we only got to see it for a few weeks as his stats will revert back to normal. Ezekiel Tovar landed on spitting image, and the only thing that's spitting right now is me spitting out puke looking at his numbers. He sucked. Like, he was brutal. So as a result, he's going to take a nosedive with his ratings. His overall and potential go down by 4. Yikes. Today's division will be the American League West. The AL West has been extremely competitive. Everybody's within 3 games of each other so far. But unsurprisingly, the Rangers, who have made the World Series in all 3 seasons of the series, are currently in first place. They have the best run differential comfortably in the division, so even though they're only up by a game, they're still the clear favorite. And a big reason for that has been the play of Cody Bradford, who's been on another level this year. He's only allowed 4 earned runs so far this season, and well, he's about to get even better. Demon time. Per 9 ratings will go to 99 apiece for his next game. So if you thought his numbers were good already, to the poor team who's about to play him, good luck. I was checking out the Rangers' schedule and saw they scored 18 runs in their most recent game. Corey Seager might have had the funniest performance ever. He homered 3 times, drove in 8 runs, but also had 2 errors. So completely all over the place. I think the biggest surprise maybe in all of baseball so far has been the Angels, whose team rankings suck. They were the worst team in the league last year by far, but they are over 500. They've had a lot of pleasant surprises, none bigger than Victor Robles, who's hitting .382 and is second in the AL in WAR. But he's injured for the next month or 2, so I landed on Russell Russo instead, who has been far better than he was a year ago. Had a rough rookie season, rating and potential dipped. He's been good this year, at least offensively. The plate skills have improved drastically, and it's shown in his offensive stats. The WAR isn't great because he is still an absolutely abysmal defensive player, but he ended up landing on another one of our news spins, long-term star. That one's not new, but I changed the criteria. His potential will go up by 1 for every .5 WAR. So instead of giving him the potential boost, he has to earn it. The Mariners are right around the middle, 16 and 14. I couldn't really find anyone doing mediocre, though. Everyone's doing either really well or really bad. So I figured maybe we just give the spin to Bryan Woo, because he kind of deserves it. He's been the best pitcher maybe in the league since the start of Season 2. I mean, these numbers are ridiculous. Career ERA well below 3. Career whip is at 1. He's going to make so much money in 2 years when he's a free agent. Power play, -20 to walks and hits per 9, +20 to home runs and Ks. Really interesting one because it makes him a lot more well-rounded, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to help him out. I'm really curious, though, to see how he ends up playing. He should still be good, but I definitely think this could end up hurting him a little bit. Nonetheless, he's been absolutely ridiculous this year, and they're going to need him to continue to pitch well because Spencer Strider has not been a good addition so far. The Athletics are extremely average. 15 and 15, much like last year. They're not bad. They're not good. They're just kind of here. Now, they are getting some good news that Lawrence Butler's 2-month suspension is over. That was part of their wheel spin last year. As for their player this year, I wanted to pick someone who's been really mediocre. Not bad, not good. Shout out Garrett Hampson, who's hitting .386. But I ended up picking J.J. Bleday. He's been a little disappointing compared to the last couple of years, but he's still been solid. Sure enough, he would land on Struggle Bus. Hitting stats go down by 20 for the next 10 games. That is unfortunate. He'll be a little bit worse than average now. The Astros, meanwhile, are in last place, but they've been a lot better than expected. First full year of the rebuild, and they've been a scrappy, tough out so far. And I think a guy who embodies that is one of their better long-term pieces in Cam Smith, who was part of the Kyle Tucker trade a few years back. He's been really productive this year. He was solid last year, WAR already at 1 this year. He's been a good player for them, a guy who they're really excited about into the future. And, well, the excitement is going to have to wait a month because he will be injured up until the start of June. That is unfortunate. The wheel not doing any favors to the A's or the Astros. When I was going through their division, I was stunned at how close it is. And that's the case in the entire AL. Everybody except for the Yankees are within 2 games of a wild card spot. There's only one bad team in baseball right now. It's Colorado. Everybody else is not horrible. The Yankees and the Brewers are the next 2 up, and they're pretty good. And then you have Colorado, who has a run differential of -80 through the first month of the year. We do play against Colorado this month, which is kind of fun. And ironic, we actually start with the Yankees. Both series on the road, two of the most hitter-friendly parks in baseball. We're going to get through our next 7 games. 3 in the Bronx against the Yankees, and then 4 at home. Big inter-division series against Detroit. So after splitting the first 2 games against the Yankees, we are still 500, 17-17. It is a 1-run game, but the bases are loaded for Brian Ramos. He goes down looking. That was a strike? I don't know. That was a close one. Ramos certainly disagrees with the call, but one that's ultimately going to lead the Yankees to the win. They would add some insurance as Jazz Chisholm brings home another run off of the double, and they end up winning the game by the score of 6-4. So we lose the series against New York. As you'll see when we go over the first couple of games, we did have some good performances. Luis Robert homers yet again. That's 5 over his last 7 games. Brian Ramos homered as well, while Noah Schultz was not great. 5 innings, 5 runs allowed, 4 earned homers for Jason Dominguez and Anthony Volpe. Michael Arias was not great, but the bullpen for the Yankees was terrific. 10-game hitting streak on the line for Kyle Teel. For much of April, his average was rough, but now it is scraping 300. We're in danger of a prolonged losing streak, though. We lost the first 2 in this series against the Tigers. Got to get one back, and the offense has given us nothing against Hunter Brown. As Teel puts the 3-1 pitch on the ground, Trey Sweeney makes the play at short. We should get one more at bat, though, with Teel, and one more chance to potentially break the hit streak. Oh, my God, what happened to this game? It's 8-0. A bullpen implosion. So we're not even going to have a chance to really come back as Teel looks at the fastball to start the at-bat. His plate discipline has actually been pretty good over the last month or so. I think that's the biggest reason why he's playing better. As this one's on the ground at second. Double play will not happen. The game stays alive despite a good diving grab by Colt Keith preventing the base hit. On the slide to second base, Brian Ramos hurt his calf, and this game will get from bad to even worse. He could have pulled it. He could have torn it. Could be a multi-month injury depending on the severity. And we saw last night in the NBA Finals with Tyrese Halliburton how scary those calf injuries can be. So we're going to have to play it cautious with him, especially if it does end up being a tear. Little different, though, from Game 7 of the Finals compared to regular season baseball games in May. Not a great performance, though. The offense was bad the entire game. Hunter Brown, who's not had a good season, shut us down. Hayden Wisniewski had a pretty good start, but the bullpen, specifically Murphy and Santillan, really struggled. We do avoid the worst case with Ramos. He only pulled his calf, so he's going to be out for a week or 2. We will put him on the IL. And Dominic Canzone, who's having a really good year, will come up to replace him. Only hitting .234. The WAR is not that high, but he's tied for 2nd in the International League in home runs. He is tied for 5th in walks. His on-base percentage is nearly 120 points higher than his batting average, which says a lot. We're going to make another change as well. Ben Joyce did not make the opening day roster, but he's been very good in AAA. And I want to continue the experiment with him, so we're going to call him up. Inole Paredes had a great spring, but he hasn't done anything special. And unlike Jairo Iriarte, I just don't really think the flashes have been there. Iriarte's whip is quite low. I just don't think he's been very clutch so far. Paredes just hasn't been that good entirely. So the losing streak is now at 5, and we've got to avoid the 4-game sweep against the Tigers. We're up 4-2, and the biggest reason why has been Luis Robert. His OPS has made it into the 800s. Remarkable because I think 2 weeks ago it started with a 5. Triple shy at the cycle. That's not a triple, but it is his 4th hit of the game. A single into left field. Really good showing for Lou Bob. The average getting a lot closer to 250. The walk rate is still in the toilet, but everything else has been quite good, as we would end up winning this one by the final score of 4-2. So the losing streak does come to a close at 5. Good to get a win going into a big series upcoming against the Rays. Jackson Jobe did not have a great game for the Tigers, and their offense certainly did not perform well, with only 5 base runners the whole game compared to 12 strikeouts. Tyrone Lorenzo was the only guy who played well. Detroit's having a solid year, but they have so many guys on their offense whose averages are just really, really low. Canzone hit his first homer of the year along with the big game by Lou Bob, and Noah Schultz, 7 innings of 2-run ball. He was terrific. So that puts us at 18-21 going into this series against the Rays, who are 19-20. We are tied for last in the American League with New York, but we're only 2.5 back of a wild card spot. That's how weird the AL has been. Would have been nice to, beat the Yankees when we had the chance, but we had a phenomenal performance for Hayden Wesneski. 7 scoreless innings, out-dueling Max Fried, and that was with his normal attributes as well. Had some bad games, though, of course, against Detroit, including this one, 7-3. Torkelson homered twice. Tarek Skubal was Tarek Skubal. The offense was not particularly impressive, and John Gray continues to struggle. He has not been the guy we would have hoped after a couple great seasons in a row with the Phillies. So now that gets us set for this matchup against the Rays. We have Hagen Smith on the mound. His last game against the Yankees was not particularly good. He allowed 5 runs in 4 2/3 innings. Our team is only 2.5 back of the wild card spot, and we've got 5 months to make up those games. It seems pretty simple until you factor in that we need to surpass half the American League. Nobody is below us in the standings right now, being that we're tied with the Yankees. So we've got a lot of teams to climb past, including Tampa Bay. So this series is going to be especially important. This guy's obviously been fantastic as of recent. Teal over his last 13 games is hitting .420. OPS nearly at 1,100. I think his OPS on the year is higher than it was last year now, and his home run rate is pretty close. So it's a good thing that he's getting hot right now. He picked the perfect time to begin heating up for us. Here's a look at both lineups, 1-9 for each side. A lot of guys who are cold for us, which is not ideal. And here's a look at Hagen Smith, who's had some good and some bad so far this year. His last outing was not great. We'll see how he performs against a solid Rays lineup. This Tampa Bay team, remember, was the #1 seed last year. They did lose their best player in Sandy Alcantara, but this is still a team who won 95 games a season ago. Mauricio Dubon leads things off. This one is belted up the middle, nearly ripped Smith's head off. Not really sure why they have a 191 hitter leading off, but you do you. If there's anyone who I should trust as a manager, it would be Kevin Cash. Ezekiel Duran goes down on the fastball. Good pitch there by Smith. The strikeout's obviously a big part of this game. Top 5 in the AL last year in Ks. This one is on the ground from Junior Caminero. Could be a double play, and it is! 4-6-3. Caminero has had a great season, like MVP great. He's been that good, but he does not make an MVP play there. Shane Baz on the bump for Tampa Bay, having a really good year. Even with the loss of Sandy Alcantara, I think 1-5, they might have the best pitching rotation in the entire league. Baz is their 5th starter. He is legit. Braden Montgomery trying to break out of a little slump. His average down to 245. And that's one way to do it! Montgomery blast this one into right center. 446 feet for BMO, his 3rd home run of the year. And the White Sox are on the board right away. A leadoff solo shot to make it 1-0. The running gag has been that, for whatever reason, whenever I use Braden Montgomery, the guy turns into Barry Bonds. Even during his slumps, he's hitting 450-foot missiles to start the game with an excellent pimp job as well. What a swing and what a start to this game for Braden Montgomery and the White Sox, as it's already 1-0. One away here for Luis Robert, who of course has been working out of a slump. Hits a rocket into left field, nearly 110 off the bat, and it goes for a base hit. The White Sox with another early runner looking to do some damage against the guy in Baz, who certainly is making a case to be an all-star. Kyle Teal now up for Chicago. He draws... No, he does not draw a walk. I thought that one was in. Does not get the call, however, as he goes down looking. That'll bring up Dylan Cruz, who, like Lou Bob, is breaking out of the slump. He's played really well over the last couple of weeks, and he draws a walk to put 2 on with 2 away. And that's going to bring up Dominic Canzone, who also draws a walk, and the bases are now loaded. Shane Baz has been messy so far, as it's Romeo Sanabria getting to start at first, Emmanuel Rivera with the day off. This one makes it all the way to the warning track in center field, where it is caught, and the Sox leave him loaded. What a surprise. We are on the board, though, with a 440-foot nuke by Braden Montgomery, as that'll bring us into the 2nd inning. Christopher Morel leads things off for Tampa Bay. Had a really good year last year. One of the biggest reasons why they got that #1 seed, as he singles into center, and just like the first inning, the Rays start the frame with an early runner aboard. We'll see if they're a little more successful second time around. Nathaniel Lowe, who circled back to the Rays this offseason, lines it to second. Was that on the ground? It was. So we're not going to get two. Waldo thought he caught it in the air. The runner at first thought he caught it in the air. That's why he wasn't running at first. But I think that ball bounced off the ground right off the bat and then lined into his glove. Very weird. Everyone there on the field was confused as Adolis Garcia belts it into right, and it is just foul. Garcia close to a couple milestones at 199 career homers. That would have been 200. He's at 996. Make it 997 in the hit category as he slips that one by Luis Angel Acuna into left. 2-on now for Tampa Bay. Matt Vierling is up. He's having a nice year, hitting 290. A guy who hits lefties well. He's working a full count as he belts this one into center. Nearly killed Smith. Lowe will look to score. He is safe. And the Rays tie it at 1. Matt Vierling drives home a run. Tampa Bay knots this one up with a chance at more. Tyler Stevenson now up for the Rays. Count is full. He draws a walk. Hagen Smith does not look like he has it right now. Of the first 8 batters, 5 of them have either gotten a hit or a walk. Pablo Aliendo, count is full, and he chases the two-seamer outside and low. Would have walked in a run, I think, if he let that one go, making a bad decision. As that brings us back to the top of the order. Another full count for Mauricio Dubon, and he chases the inside two-seamer that also would have walked in a run. I don't know if I should call Hagen Smith lucky, because those should have been balls, but they were also good enough pitches to chase, and despite having a really bad inning, he only let up 1 run. Bottom 2, quick start for the White Sox. Luis Angel Acuna into left field. That one goes well over the bullpen, 443. Not just another home run, but another no-doubter. First of the year for Acuna, and the White Sox immediately get their lead back as it's 2-1, and all the hard work that Tampa Bay did over the last inning is kind of gone as Acuna puts Chicago right back ahead. He is not at a good year. Good to see him with a big swing. Same can be said for this guy, Colson Montgomery, who in terms of WAR has not only been the worst player on the team, but one of the worst players in the league. Singles into left, though. That'll give us a base runner back to the top for Braden Montgomery. And yes, folks, even he is not perfect. As he pops out to first, Nathaniel Lowe is under it, and he will make the play. That'll bring up Oswaldo Escobedo, who, of course, has had a really good year. He's been, honestly, our best offensive player. And he draws a walk, working a nice at-bat. The plate discipline for a 20-year-old is just so advanced with him. 2 on, 1 away for Luis Robert, who belted a single last time up. And he launches it into right. Opposite field, throws the bat. A 3-run shot for La Pantera. And that'll make it 5-1. Another home run for the red-hot Luis Robert, his 9th of the year. All 9 of which have come within the last 3 weeks. 7 of which have come since that A's series, which was maybe 2 weeks ago. I mean, he was one of the worst hitters in the league the first 3 or 4 weeks of the year, and since then he's been one of the best. The same can be said for Dylan Cruz. Grounder to third, going to be a close play, and he beats out the throw from Junior Caminero. It's an infield single. I think that's the right call. Not a bad defensive play, just a good hustle. Dominic Canzone swings and misses at the curveball. Not a good start at all, though, for Shane Baz. He's been rough. He's allowed 3 home runs already today, including a solo shot by Acuna and a 3-run blast for Lou Bob. 5-1. Hagen Smith has a lead he can work with. He's got to pitch better, though. That second inning was rough. He is lucky to only have allowed 1 run. As Ezekiel Duran goes down looking, what a pitch. I mean, that 2-seam fastball is on right now for Hagen Smith. That's 3 strikeouts in a row. Junior Caminero behind 1-2, and he hits this one high into center. The outfield playing back, and this one's going to drop. I mean, that wasn't even close to a strike. That's not on Hagen Smith at all. That was a bad swing decision by Caminero. But the outfield respecting his elite power, playing so far back, and they're not able to get to that ball. Nathaniel Lowe now with 2 away for Tampa Bay, behind 1-2, and he goes down looking on the splitter. Much better inning for Hagen Smith. He looked really good there as it remains 5-1. Smith is unhittable. I can think of a lot of words to describe Hagen Smith. Unhittable might be the last. As Romeo Sanabria joins the home run barrage. That one goes into the opposite field. 394, our 4th home run of the game already, and it's 6-1. First of the year for Sanabria. I mean, this has just been a disastrous game from Shane Baz, who's been one of the better pitchers in the American League, but we are mashing the cover off the baseball. And to think, for most of April, this team was dead last in home runs. We've got 4 already, and we just started the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Baz's day is done. 2 innings, 6 earned. Yikes. Luis Frias will come out of the bullpen to replace him. He's been respectable this year, 3.77 ERA. Looking to keep the lead at 5 as Colson Montgomery is up for the White Sox, the 2-1. And Montgomery sends this one into right center field. Are you kidding? That's 5 home runs for the White Sox, and it's 7-1. For Colson, that's his 4th of the year. And as much as he has not played very well this season, the power is the one thing that he's kind of been able to fall back on. The home run rate is just fine. He hit around 20 last year, currently on pace to hit roughly 20 again, and that one certainly won't hurt. Runner aboard for Luis Robert. He goes down on the high fastball. That was Braden Montgomery, who, shocker, shocker, drew a walk. So it's 7-1, another dominant inning for Chicago, who's homered 5 times today. Hagen Smith, meanwhile, is getting more and more comfortable. He strikes out Matt Vierling, his 6th of the ball game. Tyler Stevenson now up for Tampa Bay. The 1-1, and this one is going to get by Sanabria for a hit into right. Tampa Bay's just got to start to string some hits together, and I mean, I don't want to say they can put themselves back in the game. They're down by 6, but they can make things look a little more respectable. Pablo Aliendo up for Tampa Bay, and he gets plunked on the slider. I mean, when I said hit, I didn't mean hit by pitch, but they'll take that. 2 on, 2 away for Mauricio Dubon, who led the bases loaded in the 2nd. And it looks like he's going to leave 2 more on. Flies it into left, caught by Braden Montgomery, and it remains 7-1. Dubon alone has left 5 runners on today. That's a lot. Through 4 innings, no less. Let's go into the bottom of the 4th. We've got Kyle Teal up for the White Sox. Kind of the one guy who hasn't given us anything, 0 for 2. And he belts this one into center. 117 off the bat. An absolute rocket for Kyle Teal. That might be the hardest hit ball of his career. Dylan Cruz strikes out. Good pitch by Frias. That fastball comes in at 97. Dominic Canzone, more like Dominic Slam Zone. Into right center field. It'll roll into the gap. Teal rounding third. Fairly fast for a catcher as he makes it to the plate safely. An RBI double for Canzone. And the offensive onslaught will continue. It's 8-1. Acuna looks at the fastball, trying to work a nice at-bat. That's been the biggest positive of Acuna's game this season. Even though he's not hitting the ball for contact or power, he is drawing walks. Won't do that here, though. It's a grounder to short, and Tampa Bay will make the play. That's Aliendo. With all due respect to Pablo Aliendo, he's not really the guy you want starting at shortstop if you're a playoff contender. But, I mean, it could be worse. Their last shortstop liked 14-year-olds. I would choose Aliendo over that any day. Christopher Morel pops this one up. It looks like a 1-2-3 inning for Hagen Smith as it's caught by Escobedo, and it remains 8-1. The White Sox have scored in every inning so far. The 4th inning was the first one without a home run. We'll see if we can change that in the 5th. Montgomery's having a good day, but he goes down on the high cutter. Good pitch by Luis Frias. I think given that the lead is at 7, they're going to try to keep him in as long as possible, not waste their better bullpen arms. Oswaldo Escobedo draws another walk, his 2nd of the night. Another runner on here for Chicago, looking to add to the lead even further, because that'll bring up Luis Robert, who's had a good game at the big homer earlier. Hits this one high and pretty deep and a right. Back at the track, at the wall, it is caught. No home run as Adolis Garcia is under it. First inning all night that we have not scored. Certainly a noticeable contrast between the two pitchers. I'm going to try to get one more inning out of Hagen Smith. I know we're up big, but since he's kind of on a groove right now, I want him to pitch while he's hot. He's making quick work of the inning, but Matt Vierling belts that one by Colson Montgomery for a hit into left. Hagen Smith had a one base runner leash coming into the inning. He's allowed the one base runner, so we are going to take him out. Really, really solid outing, though, for Hagen Smith. He was rough early. That second inning was bad. He was lucky to only allow one run, but since then he's really calmed down. I'm sure having a big lead probably helped a little bit, and he'll be replaced by Ben Joyce, making his first appearance of the year. Last season with the Angels and White Sox, he wasn't great. Big reason why they were willing to trade him to us to begin with. But I see the physical tools. I see a guy who can throw gas. Although his first batter of the year in the bigs goes for a base hit. It's Tyler Stevenson, who singles into center. 2 on, 2 out for Pablo Aliendo. Count is 1-2. We'll see what Joyce tries to get him with. Oh, that one gets away from Teal, and both runners move up. So a base hit would probably score both of these guys, and it could make things a little dicey. Count is now full for Pablo Aliendo, and he goes down on the sinker. That one goes in at 96. Some heat from Ben Joyce as we make it through the 6th. Dylan Cruz here in the bottom half. Hits this one well into left. At the track, at the wall, it's gone! Scrapes over the fence. Third time aboard for Cruz. He will not stay on base as it's a solo home run, adding to the lead. It's 9-1. That's his 6th of the season. Unlike most of our other home runs today, that one barely got over, but hey, a home run's a home run. So Frias is out. Mason Montgomery, another innings eater, is in. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get him through the rest of the game. Corey Julkson is a pinch hitter for Canzone. He strikes out as we move into the 7th. We're going to try to have Jairo Iriarte go the rest of the way. I know the 4.7 ERA is not great, but I really don't think he's been that bad. The advanced numbers and the whip, all really solid. As he gets through this frame, that changeup had nasty movement at the end. It gets Christopher Morel to jump. Still 9-1 as we go to the bottom half of the 7th. 2 away for Braden Montgomery. Belts it up the middle for a base hit. His 3rd time on base today. Who's surprised? This is all the guy does when I play with him. It's get on base. As he has 2 hits, including a homer and a walk as well. He is the man. That'll bring up Waldo. Count is even 2-2. Hitless today, but he does have a couple of walks himself, and he goes down on the fastball. That'll bring us into the 8th, still up by 8. Why does every game I play end up a blowout? Half of them we win, half of them we lose, but they're all blowouts. As Stevenson puts it on the ground, another good inning for Jairo Iriarte. 2 scoreless. We will quickly travel to the bottom of the 8th, see if the White Sox can put a 10 spot on the board. As that'll bring up Luis Robert leading off the inning against Montgomery. And Lupa might have did it again. If it's fair, it's gone off the pole. That is a home run. 2nd of the night for La Pantera. His 10th of the year, and it's 10-1 in favor of the White Sox. What a game for Luis Robert. 2 home runs. He's driven in 4, 3 hits. I mean, this is not the same guy we had the first 3 weeks of the year who was a consistent out every time he was up. Durant strikes out. Iriarte gets through 3 scoreless, and the White Sox win in dominant fashion to start the series 10-1 with 7, yes, 7 home runs in this game. That is a lot. Damn near the entire lineup went deep for us in this game. And then pitching-wise, Hagen Smith was rocky, looked good down the stretch, and Jairo Iriarte was terrific over the last 3 innings, while Shane Baz was a complete disaster. The pitching after him was better, but still not great. Our team might have hit 7 home runs in the first 15 games of April, and we just did it in one night. Absolutely impressive stuff from the power. Over half of our hits were home runs. We only had 13 hits. We did draw 6 walks, though. Good plate discipline across the board. Montgomery homered. Actually, both of the Montgomerys homered. Lou Bob went deep twice. Dylan Cruz homered. Luis Angel Acuna and Romeo Sanabria each had their first of the year. I mean, just dominant stuff at the plate. Again, 6 different guys. That's 2/3 of the lineup who homered in the same game. Lou Bob's numbers over his last 10 are ridiculous. The guy has not cooled off at all. Slugging .949 with 7 homers in his last 10. Only 1 walk in that stretch, but given how well he's hit the ball, I can live without walks if you're slugging .950. His WAR is up to 1.5. His OPS is climbing quick. Walk rate below 3%. That is not climbing. But with how well he's hitting, I really cannot complain. So we're going to make it through our next 2 series. We'll wrap up the 3 games against Tampa Bay. And we've got 3 against the Athletics. So we split the last 2 games against Tampa Bay, the winning team each scoring at least 8 runs in those matchups. And now here in this first game against the A's, we're up 3-2. Here in the bottom of the 8th, 2 on, 2 away. Ezra Valenzuela comes in early as he gets Denzel Clark on the cutter. Let me know what you thought of Valenzuela's new pitching motion as well. I'm still kind of tinkering with it. I want him to have something unique, but the submarine just doesn't really fit him. We lose the game. Zach Geloff and Guillermo Correa both homer in the 9th to loses the game. Valenzuela allowed the homer to Geloff, so that's his 2nd blown save of the year, his first since the 2nd game of the year all the way back in March. And then Brock Burke ended up allowing the walk-off home run, taking the loss. The reason why Ezra was taken out of the game was not because he allowed the home run, but because he hurt his back. I'm pretty sure he's already had a minor back injury this year. Nothing serious, but we will sit him for a couple days. We do get some good news, though, injury-wise. Douglas Cato will be taken off the IL, and it's just a couple days away from being healthy. He will take Canzone's spot on the roster. I imagine he will probably pass through waivers with no problem. Cato's not back in the lineup yet. He's not healthy. As in this 2nd game against the A's, we're into the top of the 12th. Tied at 4, 2 on. Dylan Cruz is up. His OPS nearly at 800. Again, for much at the start of the year, it was in the 400s. It's gotten so much better. Facing off against Mason Miller, one of the most dominant arms in the game. Miller has thrown over 2 scoreless innings. He has saved the A's here in these extra innings so far. We haven't scored a run in either the 10th or the 11th, and neither in the 12th. As Cruz goes down on the inside fastball, the A's would walk it off again. Back-to-back walk-off winners, as this time it is Jacob Wilson with a 2-run shot, his 2nd home run of the game to win it 6-4. Although I don't really think we can blame the pitching. The offense did not score in the 10th, 11th, or 12th. Home runs for Teal, Escobedo, and Sanabria. The power, once again, quite solid. Noah Schultz had a good start. Bullpen wasn't great down the stretch. Tony Santillan struggled, allowing a pair in the 8th. And then Jacob Wilson, who has not had a very good season, only hitting .211, only 3 home runs coming into the day, homer twice to win it for the A's. We did not lose the last game in walk-off fashion, though. We ended up getting the win 7-1, avoiding the sweep. As I mentioned earlier, there were some notable offensive performances in the Rays series. We lost the 2nd game 8-1. It was a Drew Thorpe start, interestingly. Thorpe did not allow any runs, though, because the Rays scored all of their runs in the last 2 innings. It was scoreless going into the 8th. Thorpe did his job. The bullpen, not so much. Last game, though, we won 9-3. Taj Bradley did not get out of the 2nd inning. I assume he got injured. Lou Bob, Teal, Cruz all go deep for the Sox. And then John Gray, who's not had a great year, 7 scoreless. As for our win against the A's, Schneemann, Colson Montgomery, and Sanabria homer. Hagen Smith had a great start, 6 innings of 1-run ball. And after the A's series, Douglas Cato and Emmanuel Rivera are both healthy. Rivera had something small, wasn't really anything too bad. So Cato will now return to the lineup. He'll take the leadoff spot, and I'm going to move Brandon Montgomery to the 9-hole. I kind of like the idea of him as our 2nd leadoff hitter, and since he's in a slump, we probably should move him towards the back anyway. I'm excited to have Douglas Cato back. I thought he played well last season, played a little over 100 games. Probably won't this year, given that, well, he's missed the first 45 games of the year. But we're going to player lock his first couple of games. Get a feel for him back as we start with the Cincinnati Reds at home. The Reds are 20-24. We are nearly identical, 21-24. As we take a look at both lineups, Douglas Cato will be DHing and hitting in the leadoff spot in his first game back. Luis Robert is hitting 360 in his last 7, and Cruz is hitting 375 in his last 6. Those two guys were playing well going into the month, and they have not slowed down, which is awesome. The pitching rotation's also been quite good. Through our most recent trip through the rotation, the group has an ERA below 1, but we have a really bad strikeout to walk ratio of 17 to 11. So I can't really explain it, but we're not allowing runs, so it's hard to complain. Drew Thorpe is getting the start. He had 5 1/3 scoreless innings against the Rays in a game that we lost 8-1. Still kind of remarkable, but look at his ERA, 2.01. He is a machine. Cato's first at-bat of the year, grounds it to short. He's fast, but Elly De La Cruz has about as strong of an arm as just about any position player in the league. He throws him out. Cato working a tough at-bat here. The count is full. Started 0-2, but he's seen the last 3 pitches against Chase Burns, the former number 2 pick from Wake Forest, as this one is popped barely into the outfield, and it will be caught for the second out of the inning. We have had nothing going for us as a team offensively, currently trailing 1-0, and it's going to get worse. De La Cruz, Isbell, Steer all bring home runs, and it's 5-0. Chase Burns, who hasn't pitched very well this season, has been great as he gets Cato to go down looking. Douglas now 0 for 3 tonight. Now into the bottom of the 8th. It's 6-1. We scored. RBI double for Kyle Teal. Julian Aguiar in the game as Cato hits this one well in the left. Hit it a little too well. Stayed in the air for a while as it is caught. And the Reds would end up winning this game 6-2. We did not do a good job of getting base runners on throughout the evening. We did add a run in the 9th. It was Kyle Teal again who drove in a second run, so at least he was pretty good. Can't really say the same, though, for the rest of the team. Rough showing. Chase Burns looked awesome. The Reds need him to be more consistent, but he showed them the flashes of why he was the second overall pick in the draft. Christian Encarnacion led the way for Cincinnati. He had 4 hits in this game, 2 doubles and a triple. Burns again, 7 scoreless. He was the man. The offense started and ended with Kyle Teal, who drove in a pair, but the rest of the team only got on 3 times. Drew Thorpe took the loss. Not his best start. Not horrible, though, I guess. I want to play at least one more game with Cato, at least try to get a hit. Within all of those injury messages, one of them is that Brian Ramos is back from his calf injury, and we're going to make a big move with sending a guy down. We've had some guys struggle in the infield, Ramos included, but Luis Angel Acuna has not played well, and Colson Montgomery has not played well either. The big difference between those two is that Acuna has been one of the more positively impactful defensive players in the league, while Colson Montgomery is not. And that's along with him hitting 175. He's not drawing walks. He's not hitting for power. And he's not playing good defense. What is he doing well? Let's go through the list of players currently in Major League Baseball who have a worse WAR than Colson Montgomery. No one. His -1 WAR is tied with Matt Wallner for the worst in the entire league. Colson Montgomery is actively hurting us right now. Acuna's is dead even. He's been pretty much just as bad offensively, drawing more walks, hitting for less power. He's been as bad as Montgomery at the plate, but his defense raises his WAR by a full point over Colson. He's got to get it together in AAA. We have one more minor league option for him, and I do not know when there's going to be a better time to do this. It's unfortunate because I really felt like he turned a corner last year. He was a good player for us, but it's been all bad. He's going to play against righties and lefties. He's got to learn how to hit against lefties, especially if, like this year, he can't even hit righties. That's the one thing he's supposed to be able to do. So we're going to player lock this second game against the Reds. Douglas Cato's second game of the year after going 0 for 4 in the first. No Colson Montgomery for who knows how long until he gets it together in AAA Charlotte. The offense over the last 7 games has been quite impressive. 17 home runs. 17! That's ridiculous. We hit 17 home runs in our first 25 games of the year, it felt like. Obviously, it helps that we had 7 in the one game against the Rays. And I think the craziest part about that graphic is that we weren't even hitting for contact. The team average was 230. We're not getting guys on base. We're just crushing the ball. John Gray coming off his best game as a White Sox, hoping that will continue, while Chris Paddack is on the bump for the Reds. We'll see what Cato can do coming off an 0-for-4 season debut, ahead 1-0, and he hits this ball high. And actually not really that deep at all. It looked good off the bat though, but it will be caught for the first out of the inning by Spencer Steer. That'll send us into the fourth. It has been 3 perfect innings for Chris Paddack so far. The offense, really for neither team, has been particularly good, but us in particular, it has been a stinker. Cato looking to give us our first base runner of the game. First pitch of the AB, Cato gets a piece of it into center. Hit that ball really hard. At the wall, it is gone! Solo shot for Douglas Cato, and the White Sox are on the board. They lead at 1-0. 416 feet for Cato, his first of the year. He went deep 16 times a year ago in just over 100 games. Very, very solid power, one of the underrated aspects of his game. And he got a piece of that. Whoa, look at the offense. It is 6-1 all of a sudden in the fifth. So our offense exploded off the momentum, off the homer by Cato. Wait, who's in the game for Cincinnati? Why are they pitching Chase Burns? He just threw 7 innings yesterday. As Cato pops it up into foul territory, it looks like it'll be caught. I mean, I guess Cincinnati's saying, hey, he pitched really well for us in the last game. Maybe he can save us again. I mean, it kind of worked because it seems like he pitched pretty well. 6-2, Joel Kunal is in the game. Pops this one up. Looks like it should be caught by Encarnacion again. So Cato's not going to get anything other than the homer. But that play really sparked the offensive momentum that we were able to ignite through the 4th and 5th innings, winning this game by the final score of 6-2. Multiple players stood out for us here in the win. Dylan Cruz, 2 for 4. Another home run for Cruz. He also had a double with that. Luis Angel Acuna went deep. Douglas Cato, obviously, his first. And then John Gray, another good outing. 7 innings, 2 earned. He's pitching a lot better than he's been. We'll see if we can get the series win against the Reds here in the last game. We trail 2-1 here in the 8th. They will intentionally walk Kyle Teal, who's already walked twice. And that will load the bases. I see what they did there. They want to get the bases loaded. They want to get the double play because they know we suck with the bases loaded. And it's Dylan Cruz, the pink bat for Mother's Day against Alexis Diaz. Count is 1-0, and it is on the ground. Incredibly on brand. Oh, he's safe! Good hustle by Dylan Cruz. We're tied at 2. Cato's safe at the plate. That's why you run out those grounders, kids. The inning stays alive, and we add a run as a result. Ian Jaibo comes out of the bullpen for Cincinnati, 1.72 ERA. Daniel Schneemann in off the bench as a pinch hitter. He will come in to replace Emmanuel Rivera, who's on a pretty bad slump. 0-1 for Schneemann. This one grounded to third. Isaac Paredes sends it over to Andy Ibanez at second. And the Reds will get out of the inning without Chicago taking the lead. And then Cincinnati wins it in the 9th. 2-run homer by Will Benson to take it by the final score of 4-2. Penn Murphy allowed the homer. I don't know what's gotten into him. He was so good early in the year and has completely fallen apart here in May. We drew 7 walks, but we only had 5 hits, 4 of which were doubles. Hayden Wesneski threw 1 inning. That is not a good sign. Did he get hurt? Well, sure enough, there was not an injury pop-up for him, so I guess he's not hurt. I don't know why he would have only pitched 1 inning then, but okay. I will point out, though, his play has been absurd. Over his last 4 starts, he's only allowed 1 run. So the changes to his ratings going back to normal have not hurt him at all. We're lucky that we get him for the next 2.5 years. I mean, he is on a heater right now. We are still in last place, though, in the AL, tied with the Yankees. Now, lucky for us, we have our 3-game set against Colorado, so hopefully we can get some wins back. Before that, though, I think this is where we're going to talk about our minor leagues, particularly Barney Wagner. I'm excited to get to finally swing with him. His rating has already gone up by 2 this year. I mean, the contact and the plate skills are just so impressive for a 21-year-old. The power's not great. He's only homered twice. The defense has been a major problem. He already has 5 errors. But the things that we expected him to be really good at, he's been really, really good at. His contact and plate skills are better than most big leaguers already. In terms of other guys who have been impressive in the minors, Arson De La Fontaine has looked better than last year. Martin Burt started slow, but he's been doing better. Leonardo Balcazar in AAA, I've been very impressed with his production. And then in terms of guys not doing well, I think Pedro Valdez is the big one. He hasn't really gotten better for us. Claudio Rubio's been oddly bad. And Colson Montgomery is 0 for 8 with 4 strikeouts. As for the pitching, it's been a mixed bag in AAA. Wilkerman Gonzalez started slow, but has been good. Same can be said with Cosmo. Emiliano Teodo has been the best in the rotation, while Grant Taylor has struggled, and Jagger Haynes has been awful. I don't know what the deal with him is, but he has sucked. Our top pitching prospect, Sal Casey's been pretty good. Bailey Deese has been the top of the pitchers so far in AA, however. But let's take a look at Barney Wagner, as we're facing off against the Clingstones, the AA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Sal Casey on the bump against Cesar Rosales, 2 of the best pitching prospects in baseball. Rosales, a third-rounder last year, is the 4th-ranked prospect in all of baseball, 2nd among starting pitchers. Casey is 20th in terms of starting pitchers. So these are 2 really exciting young arms facing off against each other. Rosales has had kind of a weird season, though. ERA in the mid-5s. He hasn't been very impressive so far. And his overall player profile is just really weird to me. He doesn't resemble a lot of these raw pitching prospects, for better or worse. His command and his control is really impressive for a guy his age. His walk rate is less than 4%, which makes him an intriguing matchup with a guy like Barney Wagner, who obviously draws a ton of walks. But he doesn't throw that hard. I think his stuff is fairly solid, but it's not necessarily like elite per se. So I don't really know what to make of this long-term ceiling, but clearly a guy the Braves are obviously quite excited about. Wagner hitting in the 3-hole. 2 outs, nobody on. The 0-1. That cutter did have a lot of movement. Grounder to third. Nice play. Throw to first is in time. Probably not a pitch Wagner should have swung at. I know it was kind of in the zone, but seemed like he went after it a little early. Here is Sal Casey, the Canadian righty, on the bump here for the Birmingham Barons. He's gotten steadily better over his time in our system. Team leads 1-0. Ryan Burrows brings home a run off of an RBI double. In a big spot here for Wagner. 2 on, 2 away against Cesar Rosales, looking to potentially add to the lead as Wagner belts it into center field, and that's going to drop for a hit. An RBI single for Big Hits Barney. He had a lot of these in college, winning the College World Series at the University of Texas, and the lead would grow. George Tovar RBI single, and William Bergola brings home a run off of a hit by pitch. Look at this. The bases are loaded. We have a chance to really pour on a lead here against the Clingstones, as it's Israel Vasquez in. Rosales shoved out in the 4th inning. Wagner belts it into left, and it is caught. Hit the ball a little too well. When we drafted him, we felt like he was a perfect fit for the White Sox. After seeing that at bat, leaving the bases loaded, I feel vindicated. He really is a perfect fit. Let's travel into the 7th. They're going to make it a game. Alez brings home a run, and then Jared Walsh, the former Angel, with a 2-run double. And all of a sudden, they're in it, as it's 4-3. Wagner with a laser over to short. I thought that one might have hopped off the ground, but it does not. Now we're tied at 5. Walsh and Cortez with home runs, but William Bergola brings home a run off of the double. Bergola at second with nobody out, and now it's Barney Wagner's chance to potentially put us ahead. He's working a good at bat. He's up 3-1. We're not going to force the issue. If it's not a good pitch, he's not going to swing. Wagner down the line, foul ball. That would have brought home the run, but it just barely does not curve fair. And the count is now full. The 3-2 for Wagner. Up the middle, base hit. That should score Bergola. Rounding third to the plate. He is safe. Barney Wagner, his 2nd hit of the game, his 2nd RBI of the game, and that would be the winning play. 6-5 for the Barons. Barney Wagner with the go-ahead hit in the 9th. That's why I like him in the top of the order. I think long-term, he's like the perfect number 2 hitter because he can hit with guys on base, but he can also set the table himself with his high average and his high on-base percentage. Ryan Burroughs was the one who led the charge for us, though. He goes 4 for 4, 2 doubles. Pedro Valdez with 3 hits. And then Wagner drives in a pair, timely hits, clutch hitting, minus leaving the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Cesar Rosales did not have a good game for the Clingstones. 3 1/3, allowing 4 earned. I want to get one more game in with Barney, get another chance to swing with him. Durangelo Senja on the mound, the switch pitcher. I turned defense on for this game just to make sure that we would get some opportunities to potentially see the switch pitcher in action and another opportunity to see Barney in action. I'm hoping around this time next year is when we might get him up to the big leagues. I don't think it'll be this season, although if he goes on a complete tear, I guess you never know. Owen Murphy will be on the bump for the Clingstones. He's had a solid year, 2.84, 1.24 whip. The walk rate, though, more than doubled that of Rosales. The first 2 runners aboard for Barney Wagner, and a chance to build an early lead as he hits this ball pretty well in the right field. But it will be caught for the first out of the inning. I thought we were going to have a chance to bring in a run here early in the first inning, but unfortunately it does not happen. That'll bring us into the 3rd. It's 1-0. Arson de la Fontaine would get 1 in the 1st as Wagner belts it into right. This time it will drop for a base hit. Another single for Wagner. The power still really is just not there with him yet. But the guy's hitting 300. He's getting on base. The Clingstones lead at 2-1, though. Owen Murphy's pitching a really good game. Runner in scoring position, though, for Wagner. Into left. Did he catch that ball? Are you kidding me? That is an unbelievable grab. That should have been an extra base hit. Should have scored a run. He Willie Mays'd it. I mean, what a catch. That's Todd Macias with an unbelievable play. Nothing you can do there but tip your cap. I mean, that was ridiculous. Into the 8th now, and Yale de los Santos, a guy who we know quite well here. Had him in the Giants franchise last year. Really, really reliable reliever for us. Now we've got to get a hit off of him. As Wagner is working a long at bat, the count is full, and he grounds this one over to second. Play is made. Throw to first in time. Wagner nearly beat it out. Wagner's speed has been impressive. He's stealing a lot of bases for us, which I didn't really expect. But if you're going to get on 40% of the time, it's nice to be able to steal some bags. We would not win the game, though, losing 2-1. The catch by Macias directly leading to the run, not scoring, and giving the Clingstones the win. Wagner goes 1 for 4, was robbed of the base hit. Senja takes the loss. He wasn't too bad, though. It was the pitching on the other side. Murphy, De Los Santos, and Roycroft pitching really well. As we played with Barney Wagner, the White Sox would go through this series against the Rockies. This is our chance to get some wins back. Maybe the only 3 easy games of the year. So we've got to try to climb back in these standings. We've got to take at least 2 of 3. After winning the first game, we have a chance to potentially win this series after taking the lead in the top half of the inning. Ezra Valenzuela looking for the save against Ortiz as that one gets by Teal. And all of a sudden, the complexion of the inning changes a lot because the Rockies get a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Count is even for Ortiz. First rounder back in year 1. This one is on the ground. Schneemann makes the play, but the runner makes it over to third, so he's now 90 away from home. Michael Toglia, an all-star in season 1. Count is 1-2. Swinging a miss. Big strikeout for Valenzuela. That'll keep Alek Thomas at third, and now they're going to need a base hit to bring him in. Count is 0-2 for Robert Kalaz. Swinging a miss on the sinker. A pair of punch-outs to finish the game from Ezra Valenzuela. We needed to win this series, and we take the first 2, winning this game 6-5. Luis Robert continues his hot streak, 4 for 5 with a homer, brings home 3. Hagen Smith was not great. Bullpen pitched a strong game, though. For the Rockies, the former White Sox Bryce Wilson was okay. The loss goes to another reliever in the Giants series. Jojo Romero, who I thought about adding during the offseason, given that his ERA is in the mid-6s, I'm happy we did not. Emmanuel Rivera broke his hand That's not ideal. Now, Rivera has really struggled as of recent. He has 0 extra base hits over the last 10 games and has really not played well after a solid start to the year. We don't have a lot of guys who can play first because Cody Hosey's still out. Edgar Caro is still out. The only guys who can play first are Brian Ramos and Romeo Sanabria as Canzone comes back to the big league team. We're looking for the sweep. We've got the bases loaded here in the 8th. And guess who's up at the plate? It's Braden Montgomery, no guy I would rather use. Montgomery's slump has continued, though. 222 average. He has fallen off. He's only 1 for 7 in this series. But we've got a chance to change that here against Angel Chivili for the White Sox. We don't even need a base hit. Just hit the ball well, drive in the run from third, give us the lead. But let's see what Montgomery can do. He's developed into a solid clutch hitter for us, I feel like. He seems to make timely plays. As he looks at the sinker, probably should have swung at that pitch. I mean, that was down the middle. Bimo now behind the count, 1-2. The pitch on the way from Angel Chivili. Got him on the circle change. That was a filthy pitch. Ton of movement. As we're going to go to the bench, we're going to bring in Luis Robert. 896 OPS. A month ago, it was in the 500s. Now it's practically 900. Count is even 2-2 with the bases loaded. Lubov swinging a miss on the low slider. Should not have swung at that one, and he knows it. We would win the game, though. The Rockies took the lead in the bottom half of the 8th, but Oswaldo Escobedo, a 2-run homer in the 9th to complete the sweep. And Jojo Romero is the one with the loss again. We didn't even play all that great in this series. We only won these games by 4 combined runs, but we still got the sweep, which was the goal. And that's despite a pretty good big league debut from Cy Cook, the 8th-ranked prospect in all of baseball. Remember, we wanted to draft him in the 2nd or 3rd round in year 2. He ended up going 3rd overall, so we never got a chance to even pick him in the 1st round. Let's make it through the rest of the month now. That starts with 3 on the road in Cleveland. We won the first game, bringing our record back up to 500. And we've got a big spot here in the second game. Top of the 6th, bases loaded. Douglas Cato is 3 for 3 today with 3 singles. We could certainly use another one here. Not going to be easy, though, against the great Hunter Gaddis, who's one of the best relievers in all of baseball. Cato finds himself behind in the count, 1-2. This one is hit pretty well into left center field. It's got some carry at the wall. It is caught. The White Sox leave him loaded. Douglas Cato really is back. We would get another opportunity, though, to play later in the game with Brian Ramos, who's been on a tear ever since he came back from the calf injury. He's been terrific. Hit an RBI double to tie it. Teal gives us the lead with a 2-run homer. The Guardians would cut the lead to 1. But Ramos is still 3 for 3. He's still a triple shy at the cycle. His average all the way up to 250. It was 210 to start the month as he draws a 4-pitch walk. Cleveland wanted nothing to do with him, and with how well he's hit over the last couple of weeks, I don't blame them. We would not score Ramos, but we would win the game. That's 5 consecutive wins for the White Sox, who are now back above 500 at 27-26. Not only did we get the sweep against the Rockies, but that series gave us some momentum going into Cleveland, where we've taken the first 2. Ramos led the way. He had 3 hits and 2 walks. Teal homered as well. Ramos had an error, but I'm not going to get on him because he was so good offensively. Wisniewski did not have a great start, but he didn't need to. Gavin Williams was solid, and Emmanuel Clase takes the loss. Cleveland, by the way, is now the worst team in the AL. They're still only 4 back in the wild card race, but they are in dead last in the American League as we look for the sweep. Top of the 10th, tied at 2. Runners on the corners. Jeremy Pena up against Penn Murphy, and he chases the sweeper. It's been a really bad month of May for Murphy, but a big out. We'll see if we can finish off the job in the 11th. So Luis Robert gives us a run off of the sacrifice fly. That's something. Ezra Valenzuela looking for the save. Problem is, we've got this guy, Jose Ramirez, and we don't want to give him anything too good. Now, a couple of these pitches have been right on the edge. Credit to J-Ram for not swinging. But we cannot give him too good of a strike as he gets the green light up 3-0 and misses the fastball. If anybody in baseball deserves the green light, it's probably him with his 360 average. Another close call, and all of a sudden, Ezra is battling back. Count is full. Still cannot give him anything too good. And it's a walk. J-Ram does not swing the bat once. So the tying run's at second. The winning run is at first. Another full count here for Tyler O'Neill. Oh, you're going to give him a walk for that? Are you kidding? That is a brutal call. Clearly a strike. But the bases are now loaded for David Fry. A base hit can win it for Cleveland possibly, as he sends it into right, and it will drop for a hit. The throw to the plate, not in time. We are tied at 3 with the winning run 90 away from home. I thought about making a switch, but because of matchups, we need Ezra in the game here against Lane Thomas. Hits it well into center. That'll be more than enough to win it off the sacrifice as Cato makes the play. Jose Ramirez to the plate. He is safe, and the Guardians walk it off, avoiding the sweep, winning it 5-4. Not a great outing out of the bullpen for Ezra Valenzuela as he blows the save and takes the loss. There are going to be some bumps on the road with him. He is a rookie. He's been a really good rookie. But this time last year, he was in college. He didn't play minor league baseball. We have to keep that in mind with him. Brandon Montgomery homer. That's good to see given his struggles over the last really month or so at this point. Noah Schultz with a good start, 6 1/3. 2 earned runs in the loss. Certainly was not his fault. So we'll return home for 6 games. We've got the Pirates and then the Twins. Here in this last game against Pittsburgh, tied at 1 into the 10th. We split the first 2 games of the series looking for the win. Bases loaded for Brian Ramos. He's been playing some good ball as of recent. But remember, the bases are loaded. Nice play, though. It's short. Bo Bichette sends it over to second. And the White Sox leave him loaded. Not sure how I feel about the black-on-black uniform matchup as Seiya Suzuki hits an RBI double. The Pirates actually spent quite a bit of money this offseason. They signed Suzuki. They signed Freddie Freeman as well, and they've been pretty respectable, certainly in the mix for the wild card race in the National League. Brandon Montgomery has a chance to tie it or potentially win it against Cardin Mladzinski as this ball is hit high and deep and to right. Back at the track, at the wall, it is caught. Should be enough to tag up the runner, though. I thought Montgomery just called game. Ramos is safe, though. We are now tied at 2. As that'll bring up Luis Angel Acuna for Chicago. The 0-2. This one on the ground over to short. Bichette makes the play. Throw to first in time. We do tie the game, though. Will we win it in the 12th? We do. Douglas Cato takes his home with an RBI single. The White Sox win it 3-2. Ezra Valenzuela throwing nearly 3 innings. He's got good stamina for a reliever. Jared Jones, 6 innings of 1-run ball. He's turned into a great player in Pittsburgh. I don't know how they're going to pay him and Paul Skeens. They're probably trying to find ways to get out of those two. Good series win, though, for the Sox, who are now back over 500 at 29-28, bringing us into a 3-game set at home to wrap things up today against Minnesota. We split the first 2 and are in danger of losing the last, and thus the series. Bottom of the 9th, 2 away. Schneemann at second is the tying runner, and Douglas Cato is up. He tripled earlier in the game, but is only 2 for 13 in the series, and is hitting 190 on the year. He has not played very well since coming back from injury. First pitch of the AB, grounded to first, play is made, and that will do it. The Twins win it by the final score of 4-3. So we lose the series against Minnesota, and our record now sits at 30-30. We started the episode at 500, and we will leave the episode at 500. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Brandon Montgomery with a good game. It seems like he's starting to play well again over the last week. 2 for 4, pair of doubles, drove in a run. Good to see him getting back into the swing of things, given that he was really bad for most of May. Penn Murphy took the loss. Another not-so-good outing for Penn Murphy. I don't know what's going on with him. He does not look like the same guy that we had earlier in the year. We did have some notable performances over the last couple of weeks, including Drew Thorpe versus Paul Skeens. Ace on ace. It was Skeens who got the better of Thorpe, losing this one 7-2. Skeens made it into the 8th inning while Thorpe allowed 10 hits. Thorpe has been a little sloppy over his last couple of games. We did have some great pitching performances from some of the young guys, though. In the first game against Pittsburgh, Hagen Smith was terrific. In 7 innings, he allowed 2 runs, 2 walks, 0 runs, 7 punch-outs. And then against Minnesota, Noah Schultz might have one-upped him. He threw 8 scoreless innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. Brandon Montgomery did have an error, though, the first of his career. He has been so rock-solid defensively, it took him this long to get one. So we're now 30-30, 3.5 games out of the division. Next episode, of course, we will cover scouting, taking a look at some of the guys in the draft class. And this year's especially exciting because we have 2 first-rounders. Thanks to Edgar Caro winning the Rookie of the Year, we had the 31st pick in the draft. And speaking of Edgar, he's coming back in June. 21 more games. I'm pretty sure during the Baltimore series is when he will be returning. I cannot wait to have Edgar Caro back in the lineup. He can give us a potentially huge spark after the incredible rookie season he had a year ago. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.